Overtime editor Ann Silvio talks with Charlie Rose.
Charlie, you interviewed Bill Gates for 60 Minutes this week. There was an emotional moment for Bill Gates in your interview when you were asking him about Steve Jobs.
When he was sick, I got to go down and spend time with him.
And talked about what?
Oh, about what we'd learned, about families, anything.
It's subtle, you almost miss it. For me, it seemed to be a little glimpse, you know, a little window into what must have been a very complex relationship.
Well, clearly it was. They were competitors, and they also respected each other. And at the same time, they understood each other's flaws. Clearly that's true. But Bill can't look to many people and say they've achieved as much as I have. And the fact that Steve reached out to Bill, or Bill reached out to Steve when they knew Steve was dying, says something about both of them. Must have been tough. There's a guy
No, he was not being melancholy like, I've been chipped. It was very, forward-looking about, we haven't really improved education with technology yet. What do you think? Or, he showed me the boat he was working on and talked about how he's looking forward to being on it, even though we both knew there was a good chance that wouldn't happen.
He knew that, but he went on ahead to build a boat.
Sure. Thinking about your potential mortality isn't very constructive.
There was another area of the interview that I thought was very interesting because you were pressing Bill Gates on his missed opportunities during his tenure at Microsoft.
Right.
Areas where Apple beat Microsoft.
We did tablets, lots of tablets, well before Apple did, but they put the pieces together in a way that succeeded.
Areas where Steve Jobs beat Bill Gates.
What did he have that you wish you had?
Oh, his sense of design, that everything had to fit a certain aesthetic. The fact that he, with this little engineering background as he had, it shows that design can lead you in a good direction. And so phenomenal products came out of it. He knew about brand, in very positive sense. He understood, he had an intuitive sense for marketing that was amazing.
It's not the first time you've interviewed this man, I understand.
Welcome to the broadcast. Bill Gates has, with the help of some very bright people, created Microsoft.
There have been a couple of dozen interviews over the past 20 years.
A lot of interviews since I first met him.
Well, I'm a big believer in electronic mail.
At that time, he was a different person, I think. He was a hard-driving tech executive and missionary.
Candidly, you think Apple will survive?
I think, like all technology companies, they don't have a guaranteed future.
You knew Steve Jobs as well. You interviewed him for the show.
Yes. I always thought that if I could put the two of them at the same table, that would have been exciting and interesting.
Did you try to do that?
I did, unsuccessfully. But they did do it at something called All Things D, All Things Digital.
When Bill and I first met each other and worked together in the early days, generally, we were both the youngest guys in the room, right, individually or together. I'm about 6 months older than he is, but roughly the same age. And now, when we're working at our respective companies, I don't know about you, but I'm the oldest guy in the room most of the time. I think of most things in life as either a Bob Dylan or a Beatles song. But there's that one line in that one Beatles song, you and I have memories longer than the road that stretches out ahead. And that's clearly true here.
Well, you know what? I think we should end it there.
He was enormously emotional. You remember that?
No, as was I. He and I, in a sense, grew up together. And every fantasy we had about creating products and learning new things, we achieved all of it.
For a long time, he was the richest man in the world.
And there's a whole tray of the vaccines.
Yeah. And now he wants to cure diseases.
There you go. Thank you.
Steve, do you envy Bill a bit, this second act that he has?
I think the world's a better place because Bill realized that his goal isn't to be the richest guy in the cemetery, right? That's a good thing.
Steve has not done or did not do in philanthropy what Bill has done. And some will suggest that Bill will be long remembered for his philanthropy when people have perhaps forgotten about Microsoft. Steve didn't have time to do that.
We'd had a few times where we were planning to get together. And
he told you a great story about a canceled dinner.
Somebody decided to have a dinner, and Steve decided at the last minute he wasn't going to come. So he called up Bill.
He said to my secretary, if he wants to know why, just tell him I'm an ass.
Yes, I remember that.
But he was, he was sick. But it was kind of classic way of saying, okay, I'm not going to give you any reason, but I'm canceling.
And you said, that's Steve.
Yeah.